right, welcome back to an exciting episode of the podcast. Today we have a very, very special guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
Hey everybody, my name is Brent Bailey. I don't know what else do you guys want to know.
How are you today?
I'm doing well. It's blazing hot in Los Angeles, so and I have like an AC in here, but it's so noisy that I don't think anybody would be able to hear me. So I'm just gonna sweat through this.
Yeah, it's hot over here
Oh,
as
did you
well. I'm in
freeze?
I'm in Virginia, so it's kind of rough.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. I think we're just all getting a heat wave at this point.
Yes, sir. So, tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got into acting.
Gosh, that's a long story. I've been doing it for 16 years. But originally, I got a different, I guess, path than most people go. I got my bachelor's in computers and then my master's in business, and I was a computer programmer for around 5 years. And one of my best friends, Harley J, was an actor out here in Los Angeles. I wasn't really happy with like how my life was going. I didn't love sitting in a cube for 60 hours a week, only communicating with the computer. So I decided to mix things up, and I moved out here to Los Angeles, met a few really good mentors. One of the guys that was one of my first managers was named Jeffrey Brooks, and I got into some really great acting classes. And then slowly but surely built up relationships and a resume to where I could solely survive just off acting, which is a tough feat to do, but extremely rewarding once you're able to do it. But I worked at Blockbuster Video for like 3 years just to try to brush up on TV and film because I wasn't that familiar or versed with it. And that became a problem anytime I was on set and a director would reference a movie. And there's so many movies out there, it's so hard, but at least I'm more up to date than I was. And then the rest is kind of history. I started getting more and more TV shows and movies and then lots of commercials, and very fortunate for the career I've had so far and can't wait to see where it goes from here.
Definitely. So I noticed that you've done a lot of TV shows and definitely a lot of movies. I saw that you were on I can't remember exactly which NCIS it was, and then you were on Agents of Shield there for a little bit. What was that like?
Yeah. I did both of the NCISs. So I did NCIS original and I did NCIS Los Angeles. I should know this a lot better. Both of those were awesome. The cast and crew on those shows, they've been going for so long that it's like a well-oiled machine. So when you jump in and you're doing these scenes, like internally I'm freaking out, but they know exactly what they're doing and they fly through their days. They make it so comfortable and so easy. So anytime you can be on a set like that, it's awesome because it's not like that chaotic. We got to make sure we get everything done. You get a little bit more room for creativity. Everything's at a little bit more of a mild pace because they've been doing it so long. Agents of Shield was a little bit of a dream just because I love the Marvel universe. I would happily jump into it again. I was hoping when I booked that role as Agent Thomas, it was kind of unclear because Marvel's very discreet about what the job is going to be. You don't really get the sides and you're kind of just left in the dark. And so I didn't know how big or small it was going to be. And I came in at such an unfortunate time right before that season finale when like all the aliens come down and I was like, oh no, I might die. And I read that second script and I was like, yeah, I get stabbed in the chest by an alien. But who knows? People come back to life. And then I've been fortunate enough to actually do quite a few DC shows too, because I got to do an episode of Doom Patrol and then also an episode of Lucifer, which, again, anytime you're working on set and getting to do what you love, you're just happy and thankful.
Definitely, definitely. So in preparation for a role that you're either going to audition for or you've already got, how do you go about doing that? What are you what they would consider like a method actor or?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's interesting because like with TV shows these days, they move so fast. So a lot of times, you get an audition, it's due within a couple days. You've got 10 pages of dialogue. Now with, COVID, everybody's doing it from home. So you're taping it and sending it in. And then after you book it, you go through, a wardrobe fitting and then you get to set and you kind of don't have any idea of what the director has in mind or anybody else. So you just kind of do exactly what you did in the audition. And then if you get notes, you adjust here and there. With like methody stuff for me, one of my buddies, Austin Butler, just did Elvis. I get why you'd go method with that. Like you have such a responsibility and it's such a well-known person that you have to do it justice and you really have to sit down and study it. But when you're coming in and doing these fun guest stars, it's, I don't know, a lot of times like a guest star or a co-star, you're servicing the series regulars and you're moving the story forward. So you don't have to, maybe this is, I might get in a lot of trouble for saying this, but I don't think have to dive as deep into like a character because you're generally only going to be there for an episode or a few episodes. So I just go in and I have a lot of fun with it. I'm very open to direction and exploring what creative avenues we want to go down, either with the other actor that's in the scene or with the director or the producers, and just having as much fun as possible. And so far that's been working out pretty well.
That's great. So in becoming an actor, did you have somebody that you looked up to or admired and kind of helped shape who you are right now?
Of course, yeah. Thankfully, there's quite a few people that like instantly come to my mind. But obviously, I guess it's the cheesy answer. But my parents, because they set such a great example, and they equip me with so much knowledge to be able to, first of all, like live on my own without completely falling apart, and then also the mentality that is you can achieve whatever you want as long as you work hard at it and you dream as big as you want. So since they gave me that ability, I think it's allowed me to take a lot of risks and it's allowed me to um, succeed probably more than I ever would have. And then within the business, there's so many people, it would be so hard to name them all, but like Jeremy Gordon is a casting director that I linked up with way early on in my career, and he's been such a good friend, and he always is looking out for me. He's always trying to find me roles. Um, I think that's kind of what this business is about, is you find like-minded people that really enjoy what they do, and then you just want to see each other succeed. And so anytime, if I get an audition, one of my good friends, Mike Mosley, who's a fellow actor, he's on a ton of stuff. If you look him up, he's an incredible guy, but he'll sit down and help me with my auditions. My girlfriend helps me with my auditions. And then I got into writing, and Brian Herzlinger is an amazing writer-director, and he's kind of been mentoring me through that whole process. So you just surround yourself with other good people that are talented, and I think it kind of rubs off.
Definitely. And work ethic is everything, no matter what you're in, and I would imagine more so in regards to being an actor or an actress.
Yeah, listen, I'm not going to try to pretend like being an actor is as hard as becoming a doctor or a lawyer. Every job has its obstacles and its challenges, but acting, it's a tough gig. You've got generally, I think, like 1,000 to 2,000 people that are trying to get the same job that you're getting. So when you get a job, it's kind of like you're winning the lottery. I think it's easy as you get further along in your career to forget that, but it is one of those things where it's a constant grind. You're perpetually unemployed. I think I was even watching an interview with Chris Evans the other day, and somebody was saying, like, "Do you miss being on Marvel, being Captain America?" And I think he gave it such a great run, and he had such a good time with that character. But there was that guarantee that, like, he knew he's got 6 months on, and then he goes and shoots another movie, and then he's got 6 months off, but then he shoots another movie, and there's that structure and that scheduling that gives your life a little bit of like less chaos. And I think that's what we all dream of. And I think that's why when you get on a TV show, especially like a sitcom with a wonderful schedule or anything where you have like a guarantee, at least for a little while, it gives you a sense of relief. Otherwise, we're all just kind of faking it and hoping that the next year we work as much as we did the previous year or more, and that we all keep our health insurance and
Exactly.
keep
Yeah.
making money.
And it's great to see that people like yourself are thriving in that particular area of the business.
Yeah, I'm super lucky, and I have other friends, and I've watched other people come and go. It's not It's not easy. It's not for everyone, and the amount of no's you get, like the rejection and the criticism and the critiques, it's challenging for sure. But if you can compartmentalize it a little bit and just focus on what you can control and what your job is in this business and like how you can further your career, it's manageable. But it just like anybody else, we're all humans. So if you read terrible things that are said about you online, they still hurt. You just have to separate it and keep focused
Yeah,
on
kind
what
of
your
take
goals are.
the good elements of whatever the situation may be and just put it to good use.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I was on a show called Emma Approved, which I loved. It was one of my favorite experiences. We did it for a couple of years, and we ended up winning an Emmy for it. And Bernie Sue created it. An amazing human being. But sometimes you go in the comment section, which you should never do, and there's always those people that want to like bring you down a bit. And I learned early on that you avoid that, because there's always people that want to make you feel bad about yourself, and there's always people that want to troll you on the internet. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like, we got into this business, or at least I got into this business, because I love making things that help people, laugh when they're sad, or if they're, feeling lonely or whatever it is. It's like a good escapism where they can check out of their life for an hour or two or however long and just kind of live in this fantasy land with me, and then hopefully walk away
Exactly,
feeling
and
better
that's
than
the
they
way I
did
feel
before they
about
came in.
anything that I watch, whether it be TV shows, movies. Is if it catches you the right way, you immerse yourself in it, and you get lost in whatever you're watching.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's the goal. I think that's what we want to do. We want to entertain people, but also, and sometimes obviously we're making movies and TV shows to try to help open up people's opinions and viewpoints. But at the end of the day, you just want people to lose themselves in this world that we've created, and just make sure that they're enjoying themselves. And it's even more fun when people can see themselves in the role. Like, there's lots of times I'll go watch a movie and then come out being like, oh yeah, I feel like that was my life, or I feel like that's what I want. So
Definitely.
it's fun. It's a cool
So
job.
I am curious, if do you have a actor past or present, or actress past or present, that you'd like to work with, or if you could work with?
I mean, yeah, I'm sure that list is very long. There are so many amazing. I mean, I love Tom Hanks. If I could work with Tom Hanks, I'd be thrilled. I got to work with Woody Harrelson and Rob Reiner, who both were a dream that I wanted to work with them, and then they came to fruition. But yeah, like, I think Ryan Reynolds is one of my favorite humans. So I would absolutely love to do a project with him, or even just be in a movie that has him there. We don't even have to necessarily meet if he's too busy. But I think that list would be very long. I think Sandra Bullock's amazing. Meg Ryan's so cool. Yeah, there's so many people that would be. Christian Bale seems like he'd be incredible. Um, yeah, I think every time I get on a set, even if I don't know who the people are, I'm still excited, just because eventually and this is what I mean, I'm really bad at this, but I'll look them up and be like, oh my gosh, you were in that thing that I loved. This is so cool. So I think I'm just grateful anytime I get to work with somebody that's
Definitely.
in the same business
Is
that's
there
doing cool stuff.
a dream role that you'd love to have in any kind of genre?
I've been, it's the superhero thing. I don't know why, because I know how hard it is. I have friends that have done it. It's so challenging to be one of these superhero characters, especially if you're the main one. But I still think that would be the coolest. David Rappaport casts a lot of these things, and he's been bringing me in constantly, and I've been really really close on a few awesome roles. So I'm waiting for that one to stick. But I think that ultimately, I think, is the goal: a superhero role of some sort, with an ensemble cast. And I don't care where I am on the list. Somewhere, I'd like to be in the top five or
Definitely,
six,
and
but I
that
don't
would
need to
be
be number
very
one.
cool, because I think anybody who's a movie nerd or a comic book nerd, that is right now, that's the hot thing. I mean, it has been for a while, but it's with especially the Marvel stuff, you kind of get immersed in all the characters, even if certain people are just the main character. You kind of feel like it's a real world thing, so to speak.
Well, that's why I mean, like, I think that's why I respect the Marvel universe so much. I know there are a lot of people that don't respect it, but I think like the way that they've put together this gigantic story with all these different elements and brought them into like one world, and then can like, I mean, they like, what are they, like 17 or 18 movies that somehow all tie together, and now the characters are all interwoven, and the storyline somehow makes sense even though you didn't even know that it was going to happen, like all the way back from Iron Man 1. And you care about everybody, just like you said, individually, whether they're a big character or a small character. And I just think that they've done it so brilliantly, that I just have tremendous respect for them. And I can't wait for Thor, the new one, Love and Thunder, to come
Yes,
out,
I couldn't
because
agree more.
it looks
I
incredible.
it's one of those that I think it's going to be a big hit. I don't know how well to do up against the latest Spider-Man movie, but
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I'm sure it's going to crush it. I mean, I always pronounce his name wrong, which is so bad because I think he's so amazing. But Taika Waititi, I'm pretty sure is how he pronounces it. That dude like can't seem to do any wrong. And I went back and rewatched Green Lantern a couple weeks ago and totally forgot that he's actually in it. He's like Ryan Reynolds' friend
I
in it,
didn't
and I
know
was
that.
like, oh my gosh, he was brilliant. Yeah, see, did you forget too?
Yeah, I had no clue.
Yeah, he's in it. So he has like a small role in it. He's all clean shaven. I hope. If I'm doing this wrong, then I am gonna feel really awful. But I'm almost positive that it was him. He plays like the techie guy that
Yeah.
helps Ryan Reynolds like discover the powers of the Green Lantern ring. And I think he like drives up in the Jeep when the alien spacecraft. Yeah, he's so I was like, oh my gosh, he's in this, and he's so funny and he's so talented. And I was watching an interview about the new Thor movie today, and everybody just says like he's this genius writer with actor comedic timing. I mean, like there are certain people in this business that they just like finally get their chance and they kill it. And I feel like he's one of those guys that I'm sure worked incredibly hard and has been doing this forever, but like he's getting his time in the
Oh
spotlight right
yeah,
now, and it's
yeah. I
so
mean,
well
I
deserved
loved
because the
him
talent's
in.
unreal. That would if we want to say
Yeah,
like
I
one
loved
person
him
to
in the
live on
Thor
board with,
movie.
that would be
The couple of Thor movies he's done, I loved him in Free Guy. I mean, it's just like he's everywhere.
oh so yeah, he really is. He was so good in the Scarlett Johansson movie where he played Hitler. Uh, and what was that movie called? I watched it like 5 times, so I can't believe I'm blanking on it. But it was like, no, it's escaped me. I mean, I do have a computer right here. I guess I could look it up. But yeah, he's
Definitely. I
amazing in
mean,
everything he does. So it's
as
pretty
far
incredible.
as people that I'd love to meet, he's definitely in the top 10 at least. I mean, everything he's done has just been a box office smash for the most part, from what I can remember. I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
I'll have
he's
to
on
look
quite
it
the
up.
streak. Jojo Rabbit was the name of that movie. If you haven't seen it, you have to. It's so good. Yeah,
So
it's good.
speaking of Marvel stuff,
He
not to get
is
kind of off
incredible
track, what
in
did
it.
you think about the new Disney Plus series they've got? I think it's Miss Marvel. Yeah.
Miss Marvel. Yeah, I tuned in. I think I've already finished the first 2 episodes. So far, I really like it. I think the lead actress, who I don't know her name off the top of my head, but she's so charming and so present and so real that it almost like I mean, and that's what we all dream of as actors. But you when you watch it, you're like, oh, this is just her, which is so cool. And I love how and maybe it's not, maybe she's just that good of an actress, but it seems like she's so excited to be in that world, and it comes through, I think, in her performances. So and I also love like how they intertwined the Marvel universe, that she wasn't actually in it, but now she is, because like, her Captain Marvel was her favorite superhero, and now she
Definitely,
gets
I
to be like
love what
her.
they're doing
It's really
with
cool. I'm
the
excited to see
MCU.
where they take it.
With what they're doing with the series, they're expanding the universe, but it seems like somewhat they're resetting the Avengers, so to speak, or maybe new generation.
I kind of got that vibe too. Right. Yeah, who knows? I mean, they're always, every time I think I've got it figured out, they do something completely different. So I let
Yeah,
those
definitely.
masterminds do it, and I
So,
just enjoy all of their
as
talents.
far as upcoming roles, do you have anything in the works?
I do. Yeah, I've got a couple things. I got to do, one of my friends was working on this show called Maggie that's going to be on Hulu. I think it comes out July. I should know this answer. I think it's July 8th. I did a fun little role in one of the episodes. I think Rebecca Rittenhouse is leading in it. But I have that little thing coming out, and then I just did a rom com that I think is going to be super cute. It's a lot like You've Got Mail with Jodie Sweetin. I know that's going to be on Up TV, but I haven't been told an official date yet. And then I actually wrote my own Christmas rom com that somebody purchased, and we start shooting that in Atlanta on July 18th. So I'm really excited about that. I get to play the second lead, and we haven't announced who the girl is yet, but we do have somebody that is signed on and ready to play, and we're all in pre-production, getting ready to go. So it's really exciting. It's my first project I've ever written, so I get to exec produce on that, and then Brian Herzlinger is directing it, and he's been so incredible and kind of mentoring me and getting the script into a place where it is shootable within the budget we're wanting, and then pitchable to the networks that would be most interested. So
Definitely,
it's an exciting
congratulations
new
on that.
step that
That's
I've never
definitely
explored
a
that
big
I hope to get
milestone.
to do a lot more of.
So, as far as ambitions go,
Yeah,
in the future, do you see yourself being more of an actor slash writer producer, or do you still want to do one or the other, or is there kind of like a passion in that?
I think both. I mean, since I love business, I love finance. It's the reason I got my master's in business. So I love the idea, and also this is one of those weird businesses where like they anytime an actor says like, what should I be doing when I'm not working, I think generally everybody says you should be making your own content. So I listened to that for about 16 years. I did a few little things here and there that I made. But I think during COVID, when we all kind of had our lives upended, I got a second to sit back and really think about it, and I had time to dive in and see if I could make that happen. And so now that I've had a little bit of success within that, I think I'll explore that further. I love the idea of making new projects, whether I'm in them or not. I think that's what, like George Clooney and Brad Pitt and Ashton Kutcher, like they're also smart and business savvy that they've now transitioned into, they act in the ones they want to act in, and then they produce the ones they don't want to produce, but just having their names attached and their connections have helped to fund these things, create opportunities for other people, and I'm sure also probably make them a lot of money. So I think it'll be a hybrid. I'll continue to act because I love doing it, but at the same time, I'll also try to
Exactly.
keep
Yeah, and
producing and writing,
when you have
just
like
because
you
why
said, when
not?
you have a love for what you do, it's not really work. It's more you're going somewhere to have fun and get paid to do it. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, there's that. What is that
exactly. And
cheesy
it,
saying?
it's
It's like,
it couldn't be
if you
further
love
from
what
the
you
truth.
do, you'll never work a day in your life or something. Yeah, I mean, it is the truth for sure. And I think that's where I'm lucky. Like, I didn't hate my job before as a computer programmer, but I wasn't happy. And again, going back to my parents, like giving me that freedom to take that risk to actually go after what it is that I think would make me happy is such a blessing. Like, I'm so fortunate, because unfortunately, a lot of people don't like their jobs, and a lot of people are, burdened with debt or responsibilities or other things that make it so they can't jump out and take that leap and then try. And life's just too short. Like, you gotta figure out what you want out of it, and you gotta figure out what your priorities are, and
Exactly. Yeah, and
hopefully that allows you
you got to
to
put
chase
yourself
after
out
your
there because
dreams,
you just
because
never know
otherwise,
what
what's
could
the point of
happen.
all this?
I mean, it's kind of crazy, but you know, I've
Yeah.
heard, not just from you, but I've heard a lot of people say that acting can be very difficult to get into, but once you're there, you're hooked.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it does get obviously easier once you've got friends and you've built up the networking and the relationship. But I think that goes with any job. Like, it's probably hard to get into a law firm, but once you've worked your way up and you've, sat on a desk for a while and you've made the connections with the other people in the office, obviously it's simpler, because then when the next case comes up or the next movie comes up, they're like, hey, you should call Brent Bailey. He's great. He's easy to work with, and you'll love him. And then that's how you get the job. A lot of the jobs I've had recently have come from that. It's not even the stereo or the standard way of going through the agents, doing the audition and getting the role. It's just purely been a producer or another actor friend or a director has said, he's good, you should hire him. And so that's when it gets really fun, is because then you get to keep with these, or
Yeah,
keep working with these people that you've worked with before, and you kind of build this little family, kind of like what Adam Sandler has done. That guy is, he makes movies in paradise with his friends constantly, and you're like, oh, that's the dream, man. You're getting to pay all your friends, and you get to go to Hawaii and wherever else and make these fun movies, and you're just literally out there having fun while also making again a bunch of money and entertaining everybody. You've like checked off all the boxes.
definitely, definitely, and I couldn't agree more. It's like, like you said, he has his own little crew of people that are around him pretty much all the time, and not so much in every movie, but I know he's got a few buddies that help produce a lot of the stuff that he does.
Right. Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about him, and that he definitely takes care of those around him, and he makes sure that, if there's any way possible that he could have a friend, even if they have like an obscure thing. Like, I heard a rumor that there's one of his friends has like an air conditioning company or something. So he's always like, hey, the air conditioning has to be provided by this company for the set. And you're like, ah, it's so cool. Like, and congratulations to the air conditioning guy that was his buddy, because that's a good deal. But it's awesome. I mean, that's one of my favorite things, is being able to help out the people around me, like my family or my friends, because I just enjoy that so much. Uh, so being put in an opportunity where you have that ability, I think would be just the best.
Definitely. So I do have a question for you about streaming services. How do you think they're doing right now? Just because, like with Netflix and Hulu starting to make their own productions, do you think that kind of hurts? As far as things showing up in theaters and things of that nature when they just premiere on a streaming service.
It's tough. I mean, from like a business aspect, I think it's challenging for the streaming services, because right now they're just like, the goal I think is to have acquire the most content possible, have the best content available. So I think right now that content's very expensive, which I think is making it challenging to stay profitable. Making their own content, I think, is, that's smart, as long as they can continue that, and they can. I mean, like, I know Netflix really struggles with password sharing, and I'm sure with pirating, those are all issues. But as far as quality goes, I think the luxury that we have as actors is, being on a network show is incredible, because that's, the primary hub. That's where you get usually the most eyeballs. But they also have a lot of restrictions based on what they're allowed to show and not show on network television. So when you get these shows that are on Netflix or Amazon or Hulu, a lot of those restrictions are gone, which is why you get some of that really, really great television. because they're allowed to take things a little further than you traditionally see on network. And so I think the bonus for us as actors and creators and producers and writers is that you get to dive deeper into these gritty roles, and shows like Stranger Things. Like, I don't think that would have existed back when we just had network television, because I think it's too edgy, and I think it's too scary, or whatever you want to call it, that on a traditional platform they would have been like, no, we can't do this. So I think as viewers, even, we're also lucky that these streaming services came around, because it's allowing us to get content that we probably never would have seen before.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more with that. And the added bonus of that, and I know a lot of networks are going into their own streaming service now, but you know, especially with like Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon, you can take your shows on the go.
Yeah, and that's such a, I mean, I'm guilty. I don't watch anything live. I watch everything either the next day on Hulu or when I just have free time. So the ability to be able to like sit down when you're ready and click play and catch up on a show is so cool, because otherwise, you know, if you had to watch it on the day at the time and that was it, or you had to catch a rerun sometime later, then I just wouldn't watch basically anything. I mean, there's plenty of times where I'll sit down and watch like 6 or 7 episodes of a show just to catch back up, and then I'm busy for 2 or 3 months, and so then I have to do the same thing over and over. That's why the streaming, for me, the convenience of it is
Definitely
incredible.
So I know I found you on Instagram. What other social media platforms are you, and where can the viewers find you?
If you're trying to actually interact with me, Instagram is definitely the way to go. I am not the most active on any social medias, just because I feel like I try to take it in bits and pieces. Otherwise, it can really affect the old mental health. So I do. Instagram is obviously at Brent M. Bailey. And then I have a Twitter. I never post on there, so feel free to follow me, but it's not going to be very exciting. I have a TikTok, but that was just because somebody told me I should have one. I tried to post a few creative videos there, but I think I'm too old. And then where else? I think that's, I mean, I have a Facebook still. I think that one's backwards. I think it's Bailey Brent. But basically anything that I would post that would be entertaining for any purposes, eventually I'll land on
Definitely.
Instagram.
Well, I definitely want to take a time out to thank you for coming on the show. It's been very, very fun. You know, hopefully can do it again someday soon.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you for having me. Yeah, anytime. If just reach out. You've got my contact information, and then I followed your site back today, so we'll stay in touch. And hopefully, when the movie comes out, which I think currently is called Craft Me a Romance, we can hop back on and have a call and see how that one did.
Definitely, I'd love to do that with you guys. That would be amazing.
Yeah. Does this? Not this is a great question to ask during an interview, but does this platform allow for multiple people to come in at the same time, or is it just one on one?
Oh no, it does. Yeah, yeah, we can have multiple people.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that'd be fun. One of these days we'll do a group one or something with multiple people that are in the whatever movie or TV show I'm doing at the time.
Definitely, yeah. Just let me know. I'm game. I'll do it. Definitely.
Sounds good.
Well, I hope you have a good rest of the afternoon, and I definitely will reach out at some point real soon.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I'm gonna go turn the AC back on and I think sit directly in front of it just so it cools this whole thing down.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you again, and I look forward to doing this again.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
I think I'm crazy, it's just on my mind. Wonder what I think about you.